Hey guys, and welcome back to round 12 of the 1994 season as part of my Custom F1 series. We're at Esteril, the Portuguese Grand Prix. I always get this track mixed up with Portimao, which is also in Portugal. I don't know if it's the track layout, but they kind of have some similarities, especially in the middle sector, I think. But here we are, we're off the back of our best result of the season. We almost scored points in Italy. We finished in 7th place, and without some of the mistakes with the worn tyres during the latter part of the race, we could be turning up here at Portugal with points on the board, but it wasn't to be, and that's understandable. We were never expecting to score any points this season anyway, and any lucky results where we do score points is just a bonus to the hard work we're already doing. I'm thinking about next year's car, and the finances aren't looking too good, so if we get any good result that can pump us up the table in the constructors and we can claim some more prize money, will be beneficial to us next season. I don't think we'll have the budget to create a good car from the start of next season, but possibly with prize money we could develop the car throughout the 1995 season or solely work on the 1996 car. I'll ask on my Discord later on and you guys can help decide where we actually focus the car development. But here we are on our qualifying lap. We're exiting the final corner. Ayrton Senna on provisional pole right now, 25.6, and surprisingly I'm not actually too far off. I set a 27.0, which is good enough for 5th place at the moment, but it's earlier on in the session. Let's see where we are on the starting grid. So here are the qualifying results for the Portuguese Grand Prix, and Ayrton Senna does claim pole position. He improves his time from a 25.6 to a 24.6, and look how close it is between the two championship rivals. Senna in first, Schumacher in second, half a tenth of a second. Damon Hill is a quarter of a second down on pole position, and Jos Verstappen a similar amount of time down in 4th place. Then we have John Alesi in 5th ahead of the two McLarens, Hakkinen and Brundle. Larini down in 8th place. De Cesaris and Barrichello rounding out the top 10, with Barrichello's teammate Eddie Irvine setting off from 11th place ahead of the two Tyrrell drivers, Blundell in 12th and Katayama in 13th, and Heinz-Harald Frentzen a few tenths off his teammates and down in 14th place. Onto the second half of the grid, the Ligiers, who were the stars of the show last time out in Italy, quite far down the order today. Olivier Panis in 15th, his teammate Bernard in 18th, and between those is the two footworks of Morbidelli and Fittipaldi. Salo and Mahendra line up together on the 10th row of the grid. That's an incredible qualifying session overall for Streamline, 19th and 20th place. Alboreto from 21st and Beretta in 22nd, and we have the pair of teammates Martini and Comas, Minardi and LaRue's 23rd and 24th, the two Lotus and two Simtech drivers Herbert, Zanardi, Ratzenberger and Brabham rounding out the grid. So here we are at the Autodromo Esteril. I've probably messed up that pronunciation, I always do. It's a 4.36 kilometre circuit featuring only 13 corners, and that means we're going to have a massive 71 laps today, and the current conditions are wet, the predicted conditions are wet, and there's going to be dry spells in between. It's going to be a crazy race for strategy. Both Streamline drivers going with the two-stop strategy if all things remain dry, which they don't obviously. So Salo's pitting up 30 and 50, and Mahendra up 23 and 47. Well, there's only one more thing to do, and that's go racing. The 1994 Portuguese Grand Prix is next. And here we are on the grid. The rain falling, but everybody on the soft tyres as the 1994 Portuguese Grand Prix is underway. And we get a solid start, already pulling alongside the Ligier of Eric Bernard as we head down towards the fast right-hander of turn 1, up the inside of the footwork of Morbidelli and Bernard's teammate Panis, almost up the inside of Panis, but not quite. So we're already gaining 2 positions up to 17th place as rounding turn 2 and up to the hairpin of turn 3. We could go up the inside of Panis and we do so. Think about the move up the inside of Fittipaldi as well, as Panis holds it around the outside, gains a bit of momentum and also goes side by side with the footwork of Fittipaldi, eventually not being able to pull ahead. And who's that on the inside? Oh, it's Morbidelli up the inside. So Morbidelli re-overtaking a few of us there, and I'm down to 18th once again. But as you can see, it is raining, and there's quite a lot of rain, and there's a lot of spray as well. But everybody on track starting on the soft tyres, so I thought that was the safest thing to do. I may as well go with what everybody else is doing, because I don't know too much about what conditions are right for the intermediates or the wets or even the monsoons if it reaches that point. We're in the middle sector here, and look at that. Pan is defending really hard as I try to stick my nose up the inside into that right-hander. Sorry, I have no idea what the names of the corners are, but for now, 18th place. We gained 1 position off the start. I'd say that's a solid start to the race. I have a feeling my teammate Salo fell back a few positions, but throughout practice and qualifying, me and Mahendra have been very similar on pace. So hopefully we can carry that through the race, and hopefully there's no sorts of retirement. We could actually score another good result for the team. A quick look at the start from the leader's perspective, and Ayrton Senna off pole position loses the lead to Michael Schumacher, who gets a much better run into the first corner. So Michael Schumacher takes the lead at the Portuguese Grand Prix. Olivier Beretta has gearbox issues and is coming into the pits to retire on lap 2 of this race. Moving on to the end of lap 2, and Bernard is all over the back of me. It's clear I'm not as fast as Olivier's, and I'm not going to do any silly defensive moves. He gets past with slipstream and probably slightly higher top speed. I think most drivers may have a 5km advantage on me down the straight, but some people have commented about last race how the other drivers were much slower than me down the main straight. I'll hopefully fix those setup issues for future races on tracks where straight line speed is obviously very important, such as Monza or Spa or the old Hockenheim ring. But down to 19th, so we're back down to where we started, but that's still a good place to be. The twisty middle sector is actually really fun, but it's very hard to maintain grip, especially in these conditions. As I lose grip, a little slight tap with the barrier, no damage done. But I'm going to rejoin behind Alboreto, so Alboreto moves past me. So now it's 20th and 21st for the streamlined drivers, still pretty good. The rain is coming down a bit harder, so I expect people to start coming into the pits very soon for the intermediate tyres. Lap 5 and Senna and Schumacher into the pits, the two front runners, and they're both going to put on a set of intermediate tyres, which leads Damon Hill and Jos Verstappen to move into the lead. Lap 6 and into turn 3, Verstappen up the inside of Hill. This is for the race lead, and at the moment they're the fastest drivers out on track without pitting for intermediate tyres. Jos Verstappen leads the Portuguese Grand Prix. I'm starting to really lose some grip. Mahendra now is all over the back of me, so it's going to be the streamline boys going side by side down the main straights. We start lap 6 of the Portuguese Grand Prix already, and my teammate has managed to get past me down the main straight. I'm going to tuck into the slipstream. Maybe feint for a move back up the inside. It's not going to happen. So I'm down to 21st. I'm losing a bit of time, losing a few positions, but I might try for an undercut at some point. It feels like it's going to be that tipping point, that crossover sort of time in the race. Maybe this lap, maybe next lap. Definitely within the next few laps, I think intermediate tyres are going to be the way to go. Verstappen into the pits on lap 7 for the intermediate tyres, and he's going to rejoin, I think, in first place. Yeah, Damon Hill's going to rejoin in second place as well. So Verstappen, brilliant opening stint for him. He rejoins in first place and leads this Grand Prix. I had a pit stop requested for this lap, lap 7, but it turns out Mahendra, my teammate, also has a pit stop requested this lap. So Mahendra is going to go into the pits as I pull side by side with him almost, and Martini's going into the pits as well. So everybody, well, most drivers in on lap 7, at least a few of them. Well, Martini seems to be staying out, actually. I thought he was going to go into the pits with Mahendra. So Mahendra may be making the right choice. I'm going to have to pit this lap now. So hopefully I don't lose too much time pitting one lap later. But we're up to 12th for now, as Michael Schumacher has been into the pits. And he's the driver ahead. Well, he was the driver ahead before Martini scythed his way up the inside of turn 2. Great little battle with Martini here. We are pitting this lap, and I assume Martini will also be pitting. It'll be silly if they stay out, because the conditions, as you can see on the screen, the conditions are pretty poor right now. It's definitely intermediates. The Cesaris is coming into the pits, but he doesn't go much further than that. It goes down as a collision in the pit lane. I'm not sure how, but he's going to retire from this Grand Prix. So here I go into the pits. And is Martini staying out another lap? He is. And we almost spin. I catch the spin just. Maybe pushing a bit too hard going into the pits there. But we're into the pits then. On lap 8 out of 71. and for some reason, some tracks the pit stops are a bit dodgy, where my pit crew will be at the start, where the Williams crew is. This track, no such issues. The Streamline boys are waiting for me at the end of the pit lane, which is where they're supposed to be. A set of intermediate tyres onto the car, and we're going to rejoin in 19th place. So we've somehow made some positions up during the pit stop phase. We've actually got the Jordans of Barrichello and Irvine behind me now, and I think my teammate must have lost a few seconds in the pits. He's down behind them right now. He's about 3 seconds back from me. Mahendra's already cleared the Jordans, and as we start lap 10, I'm going to jump up a load of positions. We're up to 13th now, so that's Eddie Irvine rejoining now. I knew I was going to be ahead of the Jordan at some point, so I'm ahead of Irvine, and there's now a few cars between me and my teammate Mahendra, but right now I think the Streamline drivers are in 13th and 16th place, and now I'm on the back of Katayama's Tyrrell, so it's absolutely fantastic for Streamline Engineering right now. These conditions, paired with the middle sector and the first sector, offer some fantastic racing between me and other drivers on track. Up the inside into turn 3 on Katayama, but he holds the inside line for turn 4, goes deep to maintain position, but round the outside of turn 5 I managed to overtake him. Now I'm in the slipstream with the footwork of Gianni Morbidelli. Both footworks having a fantastic race as well. They're in 10th and 11th right now, but I'm trying to make that 10th and 12th. I look to the inside into this left-hander, which I've no idea the name of the corner, and on exit I actually get a great run, trying to pull side by side. It's not quite working out. Maybe I can have the inside line for the next corner, think about it, but I've got a load of laps to make this move. Well, maybe I'll make it now, maybe I will make it now. I'm actually side by side, almost contact. This is what I mean about fantastic racing. It's throughout almost every single corner on this track you can pull off overtakes like this, and that's what we're trying to do on Morbidelli. We're still side by side. We've been side by side for about 5 corners now. Make that 6 corners, maybe make that even 7 corners, and look at that for a little undercut on the left-hander. He goes deep. I cut underneath him and make the overtake. I'm up to 11th place, and never mind, I'm back down to 12th. And we almost run into the back of him. We've been battling the whole lap. There's so much going on in this race, and it's now a pit stop for the race leader Jos Verstappen, and the rest of the drivers staying out, so Senna and Schumacher back into 1st and 2nd place. This video will end up being about an hour long, and it's just going to be a battle between me and the footwork of Morbidelli. As into turn 4 he defends, kind of. I looked around the outside like I did on the Tyrrell a lap earlier, but it doesn't work out, so I cut underneath him once again. We're side by side through the flat right-hander. I have to lift off though because it's not quite flat in these conditions, but under braking into the hairpin I got the inside and take that position up to 11th place. Larini has had a tough run this season so far, only scoring 4 points, and it's not going to get any better here as he's got an engine failure. Engine failure on lap 13 sees the Ferrari driver retire from this Grand Prix. And on the beginning of lap 13, guess who I'm battling with? Yep, that's right, it's Morbidelli. I tried to defend the inside. He's got more straight line speed. He takes the position. I'm once again down to 12th place. But I can already bet any sort of money that I'll be battling away in the middle sector once again on this lap. As Morbidelli can't get past his teammate Fittipaldi. I think Fittipaldi's slowing both of us up here. And because we're battling, we're not really taking advantage of the time we could be gaining overtaking Fittipaldi. But I'm just all over the back of Morbidelli through this period of the track, or this part of the track. It's up through turn 5, 6 and 7 and down into the hairpin. And once again I could possibly make a move into the hairpin. I'm thinking about it. It'll have to be late on the brakes, but not this time. Now lap 14, both Senna and Schumacher into the pits. I think they're putting on wet tyres. I think they actually are putting on wet tyres. I'm not sure it's the right conditions for it, but Jos Verstappen on the wet tyres moves back into 1st place. Lap 14, I'm incredibly determined to get past these footwork drivers. We're up to 11th now. I think somebody may have retired, or somebody's been into the pits again. Now make that 10th, and now we're staring at the back of 9th place Fittipaldi. This has turned out to be another fantastic race. I thought we never beat Monza, but it looks like at this rate that we will be beating Monza in terms of car performance and performance in terms of position as well. Maybe we could get a points finish here. As up the inside I go into up the inside of Fittipaldi, should I say, into the left-hander, and we're up into 9th place, a lazy 7 seconds up the road. And a lap and a half later, I have to defend the inside line. I push Fittipaldi right up to the wall on the inside, but eventually, with slipstream, he gets past me and there's contact. There's contact between us through turn 1, but no damage done. We are now at about a quarter race distance. Senna leads the way from Schumacher, Verstappen in third, Hakkinen in fourth, and we're currently looking at Martin Brundle in sixth place. Mika Salo, he's around about seventh place, jumping up and down, but Lazy has been into the pits and falls down to ninth, and so has Blundell. I also had to defend from Morbidelli on the following lap, and on the following lap we're going back up the inside of Fittipaldi. These battles, this is like the best battle we've had all season. It's between the streamline of Mika Salo and the two footworks of Fittipaldi and Morbidelli. And to be fair, we're battling for a good reason. This is ninth place, and with retirements further in the race, this could potentially be a points position. Lap 19, and here's Irvine and Mahendra coming into the pits, and Mahendra runs straight into the back of Irvine, breaking his suspension and forcing him to retire from the race. We're up to 7th. I can't break clear of the footworks, and Morbidelli has gone past me again. I think Fittipaldi's been into the pits, or something's happened to him, but once again Morbidelli has made an overtake. And we're going into the pits. It's lap 20, we're into the pits. We're going to put on a set of dry tyres. It's been drying up, the rain stopped about maybe 6 laps ago, and there's a dry line forming. Loads of other drivers coming into the pits to put on soft tyres, so I thought I'd follow suit. I managed to just jump Morbidelli around the final corner there because he's coming into the pits as well, and he lifted off a bit early, so I made that position and we're into the pits. From 7th place, bear in mind, a Lazy goes back through though, and so does Blundell, and this will be the battle for 9th place between me and Morbidelli, and I've made an absolutely fantastic stop, and I'm still ahead of the footwork, and I rejoin in 9th place. Fittipaldi's behind. He's got a fantastic run as we're going to start lap 25. I'm going on basically the racing line on the middle of the track, but Fittipaldi forces his way up the inside, and we're down to 10th. Lap 25, and Mahendra's doing a superb job of making his way through the field, but it all comes undone. Brake failure sees him retire from the Portuguese Grand Prix. Disaster for the Streamline team. And not the only retirement on lap 25. Here's Alessandro Zanardi going around the track with an engine failure. The engine's smoking, the Lotus driver out of this race. And 1 lap later, this is my chance to re-overtake the footwork. The battle for 9th place has never been so heated. Fittipaldi doing all he can to stay ahead. But in this middle sector, this is where the streamline really flourishes. And up the inside on the exit, we managed to get the position. There's about 7 seconds to Blundell ahead. Could we possibly catch the Tyrrell? It's raining again. It's lap 31 and I'm on the back of Blundell. So I've managed to actually close that gap. In these conditions, when it's just starting to rain, just like it was at the beginning of the race, it seems I'm quite quick. And look, we're side by side with the Tyrrell. We overtook Katayama much earlier on in the race, and now we have a chance to overtake Blundell for 8th place. And this is on pace. I don't know how we've managed this. We're under braking into the hairpin. I'm not able to make the move, but on the exit I get a much better run out of the corner and I move ahead of Blundell, and now we're up into 8th place. On lap 32, race leader Verstappen into the pits. Senna and Schumacher stay out, so they once again move into 1st and 2nd place in this race. So intermediates, possibly the way to go now. Lap 32, so I'm going to come back into the pits for a set of intermediate tyres. I think a Lazy ahead of me is also into the pits for intermediate tyres, so I'm not the only driver thinking about stop. There's actually loads of pit crews out, almost every single pit crew out in the pits. So I've clearly made the right choice with this one, trying to avoid the mechanics. Is that Minardi? I think the pit box behind us. But we're into the pits then. Morbidelli goes past. Blundell is also into the pits. I think Fittipaldi is in the pits as well. So we're going to rejoin in 9th place. And with Senna and Schumacher into the pits, Jos Verstappen retakes the race lead. It's looking very good for Verstappen's first ever victory. And now lap 35, so we're at half race distance. Verstappen leads the way. I can't believe I'm saying that. Damon Hill in 2nd place now, Michael Schumacher in 3rd. And we're currently looking at, I think this is Eric Bernard, down in 12th place. Or it might be Panis, I'm not sure. I don't really know the helmet design. But Salo's still just on the edge of points. And here's Ratzenberger demonstrating just how difficult the conditions are. Spinning out of that right hander. He's out of the race as well. I think it goes down as brake failure, but the Simtek driver out. So what we missed was Senna and Schumacher coming into the pits, and as Senna rejoins, there's contact. There's contact between him and Alicia, and Schumacher runs straight into the back of him, breaking Senna's suspension, forcing his championship rival out of the Grand Prix. Through retirements and pit stops, I'm up into 7th. Lap 38 and the rain is really coming down, so I'm going to put on wet tyres. I don't know if it's the right choice, but I start to lose some grip, so I'm going to pit for the wet tyres. And after the stop, I'm going to rejoin in 8th place, so Blundell's staying out. We're well clear of the footworks now, Morbidelli and Fittipaldi about 10 seconds behind me. Lap 42, Verstappen into the pits. I can only assume this is for monsoon tyres, and Damon Hill also into the pits. And now Michael Schumacher. Look at the spray, absolutely ridiculous. But Michael Schumacher leads the race and he almost gets cut off there by the lap to lazy. Lap 43, I'm really struggling in these conditions and I lose grip there. Spinning around 360 degrees. I think there's no damage, so I think we're okay to carry on. Yeah, no damage, but I'm definitely really struggling. I just can't get to grips with these conditions, and into turn 2, I lock the brakes straight into the wall. Massive suspension damage. I lose my front wing. I'm going to try and carry on, but it's kind of hard to get out the gravel right now. But we've definitely suffered heavy damage. And sadly, I think we're going to have to retire the car. I've absolutely got no grip out of any of the corners. So I'm going to bring the car into the pits, and I've took more damage there on the rear wing. So I'm going to bring the car into the pits this lap to retire the car. The drama continues in this race as Eric Comas in the LaRousse is the next driver to pull over to the side of the track and retire. It seems to be possibly suspension failure or engine failure, I think, for the LaRousse. He's out of the race now. Lap 53, and everything's kind of settling down now. Schumacher has the lead over Verstappen. I think Verstappen's made an extra pit stop, I'm not sure. Damon Hill is closing down to the Benetton as well, as we're currently looking at Heinz-Harald Frentzen, who's down in 10th place. Probably not scoring points today, but a solid top 10 finish would be good for the Sauber driver. Lap 58, and here's the Tyrrell of Ukyo Katayama coming into the pits to retire due to being stuck in gear. It's been a crazy race, but in the end, Michael Schumacher rounding the final corner for the final time. He beat out his competitors in, well, more ways than one, but he's going to come across the line to win the 1994 Portuguese Grand Prix in dramatic fashion. And there we have it then. Michael Schumacher wins. I'm not sure what happened to Jos Verstappen later on in the race, but Schumacher wins by 41 seconds, a brilliant victory for the German. After the incident in the pit lane with Ayrton Senna, he closes the gap to Senna in the championship by 10 points. If Senna was to outscore him today, I think Senna may have won the championship, but he carries it on for another race at least. Damon Hill in 2nd place, another good result for him. Mika Häkkinen scoring points for 4th place, John Alesi in 5th, and Martin Brundle rounding out the point scorers in 6th place, albeit 2 laps down, with 17 finishes today. And sadly for Streamline, even though they had so much promise, about 15 laps into this race they were both running in the top 15. They both retire, with Sarlo in 19th and his teammate Mahendra down in 23rd. And this is what it means for the Drivers' Championship. The gap, with 4 races to go, is 25 points between Senna in 1st and Schumacher in 2nd. Only Senna, Schumacher and Alesi can now mathematically win the championship. And there's not really any changes at all. There are no changes. Still 17 drivers scoring points this season. I'm hoping by the end of the season we'll see a few more drivers scoring points and getting podiums. And a quick look at the constructors. Once again, nothing has changed here in terms of position, but the gap has come down at the top quite, well, massively. The gap now, Williams 110 points, Benetton 90. The gap is 20 points. We've still got 4 races to go, and that's 64 points still on offer for the constructors. So anything can happen. I don't think Ferrari's going to win it. They're quite far off the pace now. I think that's about, what's that, 54 points off, or 44 points off the top, so I don't think they're going to do it. But over the past 6 races, I think McLaren have scored more points than Ferrari. So here are all the feeder series results. You can pause it and have a look. But I can't wait for next season when, well, the feeder series works much better. It's going to be a much more easy to follow experience, hopefully, and it'll make a lot more sense. It'll make it easier for me as well to record and to upload the results. I'll make some new graphics as well. I think we need a new graphics package because this one doesn't look too good. I think it looks very bad actually. But there are a few seasons coming to an end, like the Australian Formula Ford Championship. A quick look at the team update then. The morale has gone down for both Sarlo and, well, it can't go down for Mahendra, it's already won. But the next race is the European Grand Prix at Jerez, and that'll be next Friday, so make sure to tune in for that. And the team finances, like I said at the beginning of the season, not looking too good. At this rate, we will finish I think in negative numbers. We've got 4 races to go and I'm losing close to 10 grand a race. And that's it, guys. That's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed, make sure to give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, check out all the social media links in the description, and join the Discord server. Make sure to follow me on Twitch as well. I stream all the time over there, and I think we're close to 400 followers on that now, so that's pretty good. And the next race, as I said, will be the European Grand Prix at Jerez in Spain, and that'll be next Friday, so make sure to tune in then. Well, that's all from me. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.